In the last 14 years, I've sold hundreds of homes all over the city. And while you really get frustrated with market reports that talk about the average sale prices of the homes going up in value, you see it may only mean that people are either buying more expensive homes or the fact that 5 mega houses sold last month and increased the market average or the statistic. That's why I created this special report where I talk about the average sales price per square foot. To see if the average sale price per square foot goes up in value, that means people are paying more for houses. Secondly, I like to look at the inventory supply, meaning I like to look at how many homes are available now in different areas versus what sold last month. If you're a buyer, it'd be great to know that if there's 2 times more homes available than sold last month, then you're in a great position to negotiate your best price. Secondly, if you notice as a seller that there's half as many homes available now as sold last month, well, you might be in a good position to get a great price.
To help make our stats a little bit more relevant to you, I'm going to divide up the city into different quadrants. We're going to do the inner city, the northwest section, the southwest, and what we're talking is west of Sarcee, because we would consider anything east of Sarcee to be inner city. The deep south, which would be Fish Creek, Chaparral, Mahogany, all of these south areas. And lastly, we'll do the northeast. At the end of the video, we'll go over the whole market so you can compare how your numbers match up with the overall. Okay, so 286 sales for the month of October in 2014, and the average sale price was $499 per square foot, and $461 per square foot was the median, where that's where most of the buyers were buying. And most of the buyers were buying homes at $660,000, and they were $323. Now remember, this does not include condominiums, so that does not lower the average. That's the real sales. Now when we look at how that compares to last month, 272. So that is pretty good for October, meaning that sales are actually up for October versus September. And the prices, though, per square foot were up a little bit. It could have been as a result, actually it wasn't as a result of this high sale in that month, because it didn't increase the market price per square foot, because this high sale didn't change the fact that this one sold for $1,722 a square foot. So that's pretty interesting. Now, this one here, last month, $475 was the median where most of the buyers were buying. So when we look at October 2013, last year, prices were $450 a square foot, and the median where most buyers were $430. So up $30 a foot, and where most buyers were buying was $585. But interesting to note that last year, October sales were $296. Pretty amazing month October has been even last year. So when we look at the inventory supply, we got 286 sold listings now. What was available now was 806 listings. So it means that we have a very much an oversupply of active listings currently available. And being a top list price of one of them at $11 million, and this would raise the average price per square foot. Now, it probably wouldn't change the median price. That means that most people are looking for about $506 a square foot, and the median was $461 last month. So where buyers are looking to buy homes is that they're looking at about list prices about $682, and what's left on the market is about $888 on the median price, which means that what's left on the market is the larger square footage and higher priced and more renovated substantially. That's what's left on the market. Now we look at the inventory supply. We can see here that this would be an indicator that up to 650, it's really an indicator of what we just saw, that we actually had a very close race. The dark blue represents the properties sold and what's available today. And 41 available and 31 sold last month is a very close race. That means there's not a lot of available listings between 600 and 650, and of course more sold from 500 to 550 than are currently available. But as we get up into the higher price ranges, we can see that there's definitely an oversupply on the higher end, and of course over 1.5 million, we've got 12 homes sold last month and 146 available. So not even 10% of that particular market even moving. So now we'll move on to the northwest section. Okay, so for October, 387 sold listings, priced between $304 and $322 a square foot, and the buyers were really looking at homes priced at $498 and buying them for $489. That's the median where most of the buyers were. Now we look at what happened the month previous. We had actually more sales in the Northwest in September than we actually had in October. So kind of a flip side, but those prices were a little bit less than we had in October. As we can see, 319 was the average, but 302 was the median price where most of the buyers were buying. But also it's interesting that the sale prices on the average were a little bit higher. Now we look at the previous year, 346 sold listings last year, and they were priced at 277 where most buyers were buying, and 295 was the average. Now when we look at what the buyers were actually looking to pay, they were looking at list prices on the median was 479 and 468. So people are stretching and moving up a little bit. Now we look at days on market over here, 31 days on market on our current market, and 36 was last year, 34. So everything's about the same as it used to be on average. So when we look at our inventory supply and we look at just how that compares, you know, we got 593 listings, like about not quite 2 months supply. It's not too bad. And the buyers are looking for homes priced between 498 and 522. And the sellers, of course, are asking 559 to 617. So what's left out there is kind of similar to the inner city. This is where the buyers are buying homes at 1,600 square feet on the average, and the sellers, what's left on the market is bigger and it's priced higher, and that's kind of normal. So some of the people will have to come in line with their prices per square foot, and they'll be selling. But the market has definitely been good for October, and there's no excuse saying that the market wasn't good in October, and that's why homes aren't selling. Now, we look at the inventory supply. We can see here that, wow, a tight race. We actually got 400 to 450 we got actually more homes sold than are currently listed. And look at, geez, 350 to 400. There's a desperate need for homes in that price range. And then as we go up, of course, there tends to be an oversupply. And once we get to 550 to 600, you know, we've got a pretty big margin. 500 to 550 is kind of a balanced market. Anytime there's about a third more listings than sold the previous month, that's kind of balanced. And then as we go higher than that, you know, we've got almost double or triple the amount of listings available. And of course, we got on the high end really no home sales happening. We had 2 sales happening between 1.3 and 1.4, and that's pretty good there. Now we're going to move to the southwest section. We're talking west of Sarcee, Aspen, these areas, Signal Hill, and so forth. So looking at the southwest, 71 sold listings, and those listings were priced between $340 and $350 a square foot, and it took them 51 days to sell, a little bit greater than the other areas we just looked at. And $749 was where most of the buyers were looking for homes, and they were buying them at $742, priced between $340 and $353 a square foot. And most of the homes were between 22 and 2,300 square feet. So when we look at how that compares to last month's sales, just like 7 more sales compared to last month, and the market was pretty much, I was going to say, very, very similar to the previous month, and the average sale price was actually lower than October. September was lower than October, and the square footages are almost the same. But how did that compare to last year? 67 sold listings last year. That's pretty close. You know, 3 more houses doesn't make a big difference on the averages, but 318 was where most of the buyers were buying, and 349 was the average sale price. And buyers were looking last year at 667. They're now looking at 749. So they've really bumped up what they're willing to pay for houses up there, and especially per square foot. Now we look at the inventory supply. We can see that 226 active listings. There's like 3 months supply of homes available. So definitely definitely a heavier market there and a better buyer's market than seller's market up there for active listings. And when we look at the prices, wow, I mean, the buyers are really looking for homes that are priced between $749 and $867. We're not talking about condos included here. This is single family homes. And when we look at you know, where the sellers are at, they got, on average, we got the median at 2,600 square feet, and the median at 2022. That's where most of the buyers are looking for properties. So there's really nothing available for those particular buyers, and everything available is higher priced. And of course, it's bigger and it's priced higher. You know, so I'm going to see here that there's probably an oversupply in these higher price groups. We had one group in which that on the higher end, where we had, you know, between 800 and 850, we had 11 sales and 6 currently available. So there seems to be a wanting for homes there. And then, of course, 500 to 550, 10 sales and 1 available. It's just amazing. and then below that, I mean, there's really nothing to buy. When you go up to the upper end, you've got over 1.5 million. You've got 6 home sales and 49 available. So you can see that there's a lot more sellers than there is buyers in this particular market in the higher price range. Of course, on the lower end, there's absolutely nothing to buy. So definitely a buyer's market more or less up there. And now we'll move to the Deep South. Evergreen, Silverado, Cranston, Mackenzie Town, all these south areas. So looking at our Deep South market, we have 392 sold listings. Now, we had those sales at $288 a square foot on average. Now, we're talking about single family homes. That's the average price was actually 307, but where most of the buyers were with the heaviest weight was 288, and they were 1,600 square feet. Now, when we look at how that compares to last month, actually just a few more, it's very similar. A few more sales last month in September, and they were priced at 287 to 303. So not much change there. And even the prices, sale prices were very, very similar. Days on market is exactly the same. And when we look at how that compared to last year, 354 sales last year and 300. So we've actually have an increase in unit numbers up there or down there, and we've got them selling for quite a bit more. Actually, not as much of an increase as some areas per square foot, 282 going to 307. So that's, it's better than it was, definitely. And 36 days on market, so it hasn't changed much. And people are buying about the same size homes. Now we look at the inventory supply. We're looking at 636. There's basically a month and a half supply there. And really, that's pretty tight market. That means that it's still more of a seller's market down there on the average. And when we look at the prices per square foot, you can see that these are pretty much in line with. I mean, they're a little bit higher than where the buyers were looking, but when we look at the list prices, actually they're not. So we can see that it's really a good balanced market for pricing down there. So we might continue to see a lot of sales happening down there. Having said that, where the median price is, where most of the listings are at 527, where the average sale was 520, most of the buyers were looking for properties priced at 469. So we may see that change here. Now, when we look at our inventory supply, we'll see that we've got really a disparity here. Like we've got no properties available up to 400, less than sold. And when it comes to available properties here, that's a close race. And then now we got a balanced market between 450 and 500, and then same with 500 to 550. But then once we go above that, we got 2 times homes available. So the higher end group is definitely a buyer's market, and the lower end group is definitely a seller's market. So we have 2 things happening at the same time. And we had 2 sales over 1.5 million down there. That's pretty good for that area, and we have 12 available. So that's actually a higher average than most in the higher end group. And next we'll look at the northeast section of the city. Okay, so for the northeast, 261 sold listings for the month of October, and where most of the buyers were buying was $299 a square foot, and they were buying homes at $355 for the most part. The average was raised by a high $705,000 sale, which brings our market average up to 369. So we had average days on market is 38 days, and most of these properties are between 1,100 and 1,200 square feet. Now when we look at September sales, we actually had a few less sales, and those were priced a little bit higher per square foot. Actually, the sellers were getting a little bit more money for the same size houses. And they were buying homes about the same price range, but most of those buyers were 362, and the average was about the same because we had an $860,000 sale. Hey, that's really good for the Northeast to have an $860,000 sale. That wasn't very common before. Now, when we look at the previous year, our high sale price was actually 602, so that's a big jump. And but the price per square foot was 273 a square foot to 274. So the actual square footage is about the same size homes, and but the sale prices were on average much higher now. They're 362 to 369 even last month. So definitely better this year than last. Now we look at the inventory supply. We've got 423 active listings. We've almost got 2 months supply, but not quite. And the pricing on the stuff that's currently available is about the same size, and it's priced higher. And it's priced at $327 on average and $322 a square foot. And where the buyers are looking to buy at homes, they're looking for homes at about $306 a square foot for the most part. So we may have some, kind of returning to a buyer's market up there because we've got some inventory that's a little bit more of a supply situation up here, and we've got some people that are asking more money because they feel the market's good. Now, when we look at where the sales were, inventory is on the right, and the sold last month. So between 250 and 300, we had 41 sales in that group and 45 currently available. So that's a close race. That's a close race. And then we start to get into an oversupply situation between 350 and 400. So we've got a lot of listings there, and there's between 450 and 5. There's actually it's actually a fairly balanced market there. And then in every other area, we actually, we don't have so few homes available to buy up there between 650 and 7 that we have so few homes to buy up there between 650 and 700,000 that if we have sales, it's more sold than are available. But that doesn't mean much when you've got that few sales above that price range. We actually got 5 properties available above 1.5 million, and that might be some acreages available. Okay, so when we look at the average sold price, and this is the overall market here, you can see that last year we sold the average sale price was $448,774, and this year $476. So the average sale price is up quite a bit, and what that means is that either people are paying more for their houses, which we've seen per square foot than they were the previous year, but also means that people are buying more expensive homes. Now, when we look at sales compared to last year, we can see that we have 2,962 sold listings in October, and compared to 2,600 last year. So sales up 300 units, over 300 units this year. But you have to remember, and our inventory is actually dropping. So the inventory, and that's for 2 reasons. One is that we had strong sales, but the second reason is that people are dropping off the market. So if their homes didn't sell, now they are off the market and wondering what to do if they're going to be back on the market again. So when the board said we had a balanced market, I would say the balanced market was here. When we had more like 9,000 listings was our high, and now we're dropping to 8,000 listings. We had more sales there, of course, but it's not much difference as far as inventory and supply is concerned. The supply and demand figure has been pretty good since May, when we actually had 8,000. We got up to 8,000 listings. So you can definitely see that that the supply is still pretty good. It's still pretty. I think 8,200 is a fairly active market for sellers, and actually, one might argue if the sales continue the way they are, that it might be better now than it actually was a few months ago.
Before I was in real estate, I was in the advertising business, and back in 2000 when I started, I wasn't really sure where I was going to start. I talked to a few people, and some people said, why don't you start with the homes that other agents couldn't sell? And because you have a lot of advertising experience, they said, you've been testing ads with companies and businesses and improving the response rate. Maybe you can do that on an individual basis with clients who want to sell their homes. So that's really where I started. And, I learned so much from doing that. I learned about all the things that people felt that were going wrong with the process, that they weren't happy. I listened to a lot of unhappy stories. And I was able to take over those situations and turn them around for a lot of people. And I'll never forget that first client that I had that they were so elated that they were moving along with their plans. And I thought, wow, I really helped some people. I got a real testimonial here, and I got paid too. Like, that was a side benefit. It was so awesome.